All right, shall we kick off, Henry? Great. Welcome to the regular meeting of the Board of Library Trustees meeting of June 14, 2022. It's 6:02. And Jinder, can you call the roll?
Yes, Trustee Cortez,
Here.
Trustee Hahn,
Here.
Trustee Lentini,
Here.
Trustee Vedot, Chair Duke Hughes.
Here. Thanks, Jinder. Can you explain how the public can participate in this evening's agenda?
Yes, good evening, everyone. Viewers are welcome to provide public comment online through Zoom or by telephone at 253-215-8782. And the meeting ID is 812-8106-9910 #. If you're watching the meeting on Zoom and wish to provide public comment, please select the raise hand feature either at the bottom of your screen or through the participants icon. If you are participating by telephone and wish to provide public comment, please press *9 when the chair opens the public comment period. When it is your turn to speak, you will be notified that the host is inviting you to participate. You will need to press *6 to unmute yourself. Once you're unmuted, you will have 3 minutes to provide your comments.
Thank you. Are there any amendments to this evening's agenda? Is that a no? Great. So the first item is to approve regular meeting minutes of May 10, 2022. Any questions from trustees? Any public comment?
We actually do have one attendee, and so I'll go ahead and read the script. If you wish to provide public comment and are watching this meeting through Zoom, please use the raise hand function to let us know you would like to speak. If you are participating by telephone and wish to provide public comment, please press *9. When it is your turn to speak, you will be notified that the host is inviting you to participate. You will need to press *6 to unmute yourself. Once you're unmuted, you will have 3 minutes to provide your comments. I'm just going to see if this person is interested in providing any comments here. It doesn't seem like it.
Great, so I'll close public comment. And any comments from trustees? Or I'd like to request a motion and a second to approve the meeting minutes from May 10.
I'll motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second.
Thank you. Jinder, can you roll call?
Yes, Trustee Cortez,
Aye.
Trustee Hahn,
Aye.
Trustee Lentini,
Aye.
Trustee Vedot, Chair Duke Hughes.
Aye. Great. Second item, introductions, awards, recognitions, presentations by Jill Tokutomi, Summer Reading 2022.
Just straight before we get started, I'd like to introduce all the staff that are here today. Jill Tokutomi, Supervising Librarian, will be giving the presentation on summer reading. We also have Lee Ashkenaz, Librarian 2, Katie Port, Supervising Librarian, Basha Jadruzizak, Librarian 1, sorry. And they will be participating in this, the next presentation on the next item. Take it away, Jill.
Okay, great. Thank you everybody for having me. Like Henry said, my name is Jill Tokutomi. I use they, them pronouns, and I am supervising librarian in charge of the branches, as well as programming, promo, and programming and promo. So I'm going to do a presentation about summer reading. Let me share my screen.
Hey, Jill, I'm really excited about this. I was just wondering, when I saw the newsletter from the library, it didn't have anything about summer.
The email that just went out?
Yeah.
We sent out a different one with all of our summer offerings. So the most recent one just had a little section that said summer at your library that you could then click on. But I think
okay.
Basha and I sent out an email either June 1st about all of our summer offerings. So that already went out. I can forward it to you if you want.
No, I just
later.
saw the most recent one and I was, because for us, summer just started, right? For people with,
Right,
then,
yeah.
you know, and so I thought, oh no, we're not having it. And then I was excited we were having this.
No, we are, and I'll show you
All right.
everything.
Thanks, Jill.
Okay. Okay, so summer at San Rafael Public Library. And this is a shout out to Basha, who designed all these beautiful graphics that we've been using for all of our promotion. So we have our summer reading challenge that this is the same one that we've been doing for the past 3 years, I believe. It started June 1st, soft launch, and it's going to run through August. It's really simple. We have a log where kids can just mark off the number of days that they read. And I think when they get to 20, that's the end of it, and they can return it to get a prize at the library. So it's for kids entering grades kindergarten through 6th. They can come to any of our branches, grab the log, and when they actually pick up their log, they also get a free book to choose. So there's a sign-up prize and a finishing prize, and there's no benchmark prizes in between. And then it is funded, all the books were purchased by the Friends of the San Rafael Public Library, and Margaret Stawowie selected about 4,500 books for us to give away for this program. Along with that, to distribute the logs, we are doing some outreach to 5 different San Rafael City School summer enrichment sites. We're going to hand out books and the logs, and then encourage the kids to come to the libraries to return their logs to get their second book. And we also have a pamphlet with all of our summer enrichment programs, so they can see what we have going on. These enrichment programs, they're like summer camps. They're totally free to the students who are participating, and the kids are selected by their principals as being the most in need of summer support. So our goal is to bring this summer reading program directly to the kids who most need it, and then all the other kids who aren't involved in these enrichment programs can come to the libraries and still participate. So within those 5 outreach visits, they're starting, the first one is June 27th, and then they'll kind of happen in the between June 27th and like a 2-week period after that. Staff are going to be seeing 905 students in total at those sites. I'm going to talk a little bit about the programs, the events and enrichment programs that we're offering at the library. These are divided up by age group. So for all ages, we have 2 programs. One is, this actually happened on Saturday, June 11th. I haven't heard any information about it yet, but presumably it went well. It was jazz and process art on the lawn. So we had a jazz trio come to play music, while for all ages, we had a process art activity where they could we had black butcher paper, and they could color in designs with some oil pastels and kind of create like collaborative, process driven art. So that happened on June 11th. And then in July, we're doing a series called Process Art Saturdays, and Margaret Stawowie has put those together, and it is 3 separate process art programs that will be happening simultaneous at all 3 locations. Margaret also created like an artist tie-in. So like, for example, one of them is like a Kusama dot-based activity where we're going to have like paper punchers to cut out circles, bingo daughters, and then just examples of Kusama's dot work for participants to see and then create whatever they want based off of that. So Margaret put together the supplies, and then at each of our branches, someone will be facilitating that program, but it doesn't require a lot of staff intervention to facilitate. And then we have programs for kids. We're going to be continuing our outdoor story times. So those happen at each location at 10:30. So Wednesdays is Northgate, Thursdays is downtown, Fridays is Pickleweed, and that's weekly, weather permitting. We also are going to be doing ranger story times at each location. So we have partners from Marin Municipal Water District and one TAM, who will be sending rangers to come and do an outdoor themed, park themed story time, followed by an activity. And those happen at the same time as our regular outdoor story time. So we have that built-in audience. We have a program called Biking Adventure that Lee organized, and Lee also did the Ranger Story Times, organized those. So Biking Adventure is in partnership with Trips for Kids, and they are going to send someone to bring bikes to the Pickleweed Library to teach kids about bike basics, bike safety, and then take them on a trip around the Bay Trail. And then for one of them, they're actually going to take a van to China Camp. And I believe both Lee and Basha will join and ride their bikes along for that as well. We have a program at all three, and Biking Adventures is just at Pickleweed, and we are trying to, it's of course open to kids from any part of San Rafael, but or Marin, wherever, but we are trying to encourage it to be specifically for kids that live in the canal and who are new to biking is our goal. That's the intended audience. Animated Animal Tales will be happening at all three locations. It's with Ann Carla Rovetta. She's a really amazing local artist and storyteller. And this is a program we've done many times in the past where Ann tells a folk tale and then afterwards uses pastels to create an illustration of the animal that she's been talking about, and the kids create the illustration along with her. She's super beloved in the community. People will come in, and the downtown library, we have examples of her art up, and we'll say, oh, that woman came to my school and she was really awesome. So that's always a big hit. Shout out to Margaret for organizing that one. And then we have Petcare 101 that Lee organized. We're having someone from the Humane Society come. We've already done one at the downtown library. It'll also happen at Pickleweed and Northgate. And they're bringing a dog and talking about how to best care for your pets. So those are for kids. Also, this happened on Sunday. We had a drag story time and Sunday tea. And Basha and I organized this in partnership with the Spar Center. The Spar Center is a local organization that serves queer people of all ages throughout Marin. And they recently started a program called Sunday Tea, which is specifically for families with very young queer children, generally kids who are gender nonconforming or trans, and the kids come together. They get to play, the parents get some support and resources, and everybody drinks tea. So we had a very special collaboration where we did a drag story time. And then after that, it was followed by the Sunday tea. And I have some photos. So we actually had over 70 attendees come. It was incredibly popular. We had this wonderful drag performer named Siri, who was open about the fact that she herself is a trans woman. And she shared that with the kids and the families. And I can only imagine that it felt so meaningful for some of these young, very young queer kids to see themselves reflected in this really amazing and fun and uplifting event. Here's a really sweet photo of all of them playing. She did bubbles afterwards. Yeah, and she reflected to me that it was a really empowering experience for her as well. And shout out to Basha, who facilitated this the day of the event. Programs for teens, we have alternating programs, art jams, and teen gaming. That's put on by Matthew and Basha. Basha's leading the art jams, Matthew's leading the gaming programs. It's every other Wednesday, just drop-in programs for kids 7th through 12th grade. And we're hoping to build up a following of teens again to come back into the library and use our services. We've had 2 so far with not really much attendance, but we're hoping that now that school is out, we're going to start to see that ramp up. And along with that, Basha organized this program called Anime Your Way, which will be happening at all 3 locations. We have this visiting artist named Carlos Nieto, who leads kids through doing anime illustrations, and we've used him in the past, and he was very popular. For adults, we are doing a watercolor workshop. Lee put that together with a partner named Eileen, who does these. This is an example of her work, and she'll do a workshop for adults and teens on doing watercolors. And that's going to be at Pickleweed and downtown. We were going to do it at Northgate, but Northgate, the outdoor space gets really hot in the afternoon, and I didn't feel good about asking adults, particularly older adults, to be outside, and Eileen didn't feel comfortable doing an indoor program, so it'll just be downtown and Pickweed, and that's fine. We have some plant care workshops in partnership with the Marin Master Gardeners. Matthew put those together. And then Bonnie has 2 of her regular virtual programs, Zentangle and Art Talks, that will continue on through the summer. Okay, now I'll talk about promo. And so big shout out to Basha and myself. We've done a ton of work on promo for this summer. Jamie, here's the example of the flyer that went out, or not the flyer, the email newsletter that went out, I believe June 1st, with information about all of our summer offerings. In addition to that, we've been doing individual flyers for programs. We've been doing flyers by age, flyers by location, flyers by month. We put together a brochure and had that professionally printed with all of our programs. And we're also doing social posts of what we have coming up each week. So hopefully people are getting the word out. And like I said, with the outreach, along with getting the log, the kids are also going to get a little 1-page, information sheet about our summer programs for kids. This is what the brochure looks like. It's a trifold. So we had a section for adults, front, back. Then we have the younger kids, elementary age kids, and teen. Information about the summer reading challenge. In terms of funding, big thank you to our friends. They paid for all of our books, and they also are paying for all of our program providers. To supplement that, I've been using some of our library programming budget to purchase program supplies, like for the art jams and other little things we've needed here and there. Other partners involved: Trips for Kids, the Marin Humane Society, Marin Water District, Mount One-Tam, the county library system. We're actually created the summer reading log that we've used for the past few years. So they're using the same log too. So hopefully that cuts down on confusion in the consortium. XR libraries have provided us with some VR equipment that we use at the Northgate Mall, and we're also bringing downtown to use for some of that gaming programming that Matthew's doing. And the Marin Master Gardeners are doing the plant care workshops. Okay, so that's that. And please let me know if you have any questions or comments.
Thank you, Jill. Any questions from trustees or comments?
No questions, but Jill, always so impressed with you and the team of this amazing programming you're putting together, and just the scope of it. It's amazing. It's so impressive. So thank you, and very exciting to see all the new things you're doing. So thanks to you and the team.
Thank you, Jamie. And like you can probably gather by all the names I threw out there, it was a lot of teamwork. A lot of people were involved to make it all happen.
Definitely.
Yeah,
no-
and I've,
Sorry.
oh, sorry.
I was just saying, no questions for me either, but echoing exactly the same thing Jamie just said. I mean, that is such an impressive set of programming for the summer. It's so great to see. It's so exciting. I mean, it must have been a lot of work from all of you, and I really appreciate that you guys do that.
Thank you, Cheryl.
And Jill, I've noticed that a lot of these programs are designed to bring people back. And I think you alluded to that, you mentioned that, and particularly the summer reading program. I was talking with friends a couple of days ago, and they were so excited about getting the book. And then once they complete the reading challenge, they get another book. And it's just a great way to keep people coming into the library. So
Yeah, I think that's spot on for everybody. And I think like the big group that we're really trying to get to come back are teens, because we had built up a pretty good teen following before the pandemic, and we just don't have that anymore. And yeah, that's historically a challenging group to reach. So I'm hoping that at the end of the summer, we get some kids again, some teens again.
and hopefully they find the new space. It's my almost teen, but already reading at that level. It just loves spending time there.
Oh, that's really sweet to hear.
Yes, he loves it. He comes back with a big pile while I'm browsing the books in my section. So no, that's a really good space. I hope teens discover it and start passing the voice. I'm talking about the downtown library. Great. So thank you so much. If there's no other comments or questions from trustees.
Just had one, Jill. I mean, if there's anything us as trustees might be able to do to help and support, I mean, please feel free to let us know as well. I agree, echo everything. It's a very exciting program. So
Thanks, Eric.
Actually, that's a great point. I mean, we could be, amplifying this through like posts on nextdoor.com or, obviously pass it through word of mouth, but is that something that we all agree would be a good role for trustees?
I'll leave that to Henry to speak to because I don't really know about that.
We would always appreciate more marketing through your personal networks, so feel free to get the word out. In the past, when we did farmers market, we included board members in a rotating basis, helping us do that type of outreach. So maybe there's an opportunity in the future similar to that.
Yeah, I think that's actually a really good point, Henry. And we are ramping up. Our new supervising librarian, Dan Cottrell, is overseeing outreach now, but we have a lot of new outreach that's ramping up that it could be helpful to have board members participate in.
Absolutely, especially those programs where you're having most trouble, right? If you already have good response for some programs, maybe it's more those that are harder to get people involved.
Jill, this is not environmentally friendly, but do you give out stacks of your brochure? Because I could take my daughter's in many different aftercare programs with tons of kids. I could leave that where parents sign in and out, but I don't know if that's something you want to do.
Yeah, you're welcome to come by and grab some. We ordered a bunch, so.
Okay. I just don't want someone to think I'm taking them all if you wanted to put some aside.
No, I think you could say, hey, I'm on the board. Someone would give you brochures.
All right, will do.
It's a great idea, Jamie. I'll copy that.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Jill. Any public comment, Jinder?
Yes, we do still have an attendee, so I'll go ahead and read the instructions. If you wish to provide public comment and are watching this meeting through Zoom, please use the raise hand function to let us know you would like to speak. If you're participating by telephone and wish to provide public comment, please press *9. When it is your turn to speak, you will be notified that the host is inviting you to participate. You will need to press *6 to unmute yourself. Once you're unmuted, you will have 3 minutes to provide your comments. So let me just see if this person is interested. It doesn't seem like they are right now.
Great, thank you, Jinder. So I'll close public comment. And if there are no other comments, shall we move on to item 3, which is public comment from the audience regarding items not listed on the agenda. Speakers are encouraged to limit comments to 3 minutes.
All right, yes, I will go ahead and read the script. All right, if you wish to provide public comment and are watching this meeting through Zoom, please use the raise hand function to let us know you would like to speak. If you are participating by telephone and wish to provide public comment, please press *9. When it is your turn to speak, you will be notified that the host is inviting you to participate. You will need to press *6 to unmute yourself. Once you're unmuted, you will have 3 minutes to provide your comments. Okay, I'm just gonna wait a few seconds here to see if this person is interested. No, it doesn't seem like they are.
Great, thanks, Jinder. So we could go on to item 4, California Library Association Conference Report.
Thank you, Adriana. I'm going to start the presentation, and then we're going to switch off between all the staff present that went to the conference. I'm going to share my screen. Can we see? Can everyone see that? Yes, thank you. So this is the California Library Association Conference Report. We sent about 10 staff to the recent California Library Association Conference in Sacramento, June 2nd to 4th, 2022. 6 of those staff participated in presenting 3 conference presentations. Annually, employees of the library attend this conference and usually support the conference by presenting. And the conference was held virtually last year due to the pandemic and was canceled the year before. A side note, it's usually in the fall, but because of the COVID disruption, it was moved to June and will be in June next year, and it's anticipated to move back to the fall in the future, and it will be in Sacramento again next year. Here's a shot of Perla and Matthew, who were at the conference. Perla just recently became a senior library assistant. Matthew became a librarian this past year. They were both busy all day today doing interviews for an open library aide position, so they're done working for the day. So the first presentation that staff were involved in was the Community Wellness with Comfort Dog Library and Public Safety Partnership. And that involved Jennifer Madrid, our community wellness assistant, myself, Lynn Murphy, the mental health liaison from San Rafael PD, and Blue, the former service dog, now comfort animal that works with Lynn. We outlined the program that we initiated in January to replace the library's previous private security presence with a more proactive, wellness-based, quasi-social worker approach staff member who would be there to provide referrals, to get to know our regular customers and staff, to build up a wealth of knowledge about the institution. We highlighted also, the dog was very popular to say, but we also highlighted that the outreach that Jennifer and Matthew and Audrey provide to the service support area. And so it went rather well. This was Friday afternoon at 4 p.m., which was kind of a tough spot because people tend to attend earlier in the day, and later, the last session of the day sometimes gets sparser attendance. And now I'm going to turn it over to another staff member for the next presentation, and I'm going to call on Basha, who was part of our preferred not required presentation, along with our former supervising librarian, Jamie Poirier, who's now Deputy Director of Public Services at Solano County Library, and Alejandra Barrios, our librarian who's located at the Pickleweed Library. Take it away, Basha. I'll do the clicker.
So our presentation was called Preferred Not Required, which is in reference to the fact that for librarian level positions, for professional positions here at the San Rafael Public Library, a master's degree in library science or library and information science is preferred, but it is not required. And then all 3 of us, me, Jamie, and Ale, were at one point or continue to be librarians without the master's degree in librarians or in library and information sciences. The San Rafael Public Library has made this presentation in the past, previously kind of as more of a structured more as a debate rather than informational. So this time we all decided to come together to kind of make it an informational session for people who might be looking to implement something similar in their own organizations. So Jamie and Henry talked a lot about sort of the administrative challenges that you might face, challenges that you might face from the HR department, from the application process itself, whether you might find support in surprising places or in perhaps not so surprising places, our own personal experience, well, Jamie's and Henry's personal experiences with getting the ball rolling on making this preferred and not required at the San Rafael Public Library. And then Ali and I were also sharing our own experiences of working at the paraprofessional level in terms of payment, but at the professional level in terms of the level of work that we were doing. Ollie shared a lot about some of the struggles that she had faced in particular. And then at the end, we all broke out into various groups, each tackling sort of our own focus area. The breakout groups were really, really successful. People really enjoyed it. And it was very clear that that all the attendees were really looking for support and found a lot of support and useful information, hopefully, from everything that we had shared. And that's one of our support, or one of the breakout groups that we did, where I was talking to paraprofessionals who just were looking for some solidarity. There's Henry with his group in defense of the MLIS, I believe, but I don't think anyone fought particularly hard from what you were saying.
Correct.
And then Alejandra's support group talking about equity issues, why this is an equity issue, and then, you know, in support of folks facing equity in particular as an issue.
Awesome, Basha. I'm gonna go to the next person, and it's gonna be me. Oh, I was on a panel about the statewide Palace project, and this is a something that the state library cooked up to create an ebook collection for everyone, and Katie's going to talk more about this.
Hey everyone. This was my favorite slide from the Palace Project presentation. And the Palace Project is an effort by the California State Library, as Henry said, to connect all library e-content into one open source interface that also features a shared statewide collection that all public libraries in California can contribute to. So this is worthy, and I hope to talk to you more about this down the road when it is more robust. But when I first heard about this project, it features an app, the Palace app, and you can see it on that slide there. And my first take on it was, do we need another app for library e-content, right? Because as you know, the market for that is somewhat striated right now, and we already have several apps that we have laboriously and lovingly taught library patrons to use, including the Overdrive Libby app, the Cloud Library app at some libraries, Hoopla, that kind of thing. So what Palace is it's a way to integrate all of that content, including the big players like Overdrive, but it also creates opportunities for local content creation through Pressbooks, which is a self-publishing platform available to all San Rafael cardholders and currently featured on our website under the ebooks section. And San Rafael was an early adopter for the Palace project. That's why Henry was part of that presentation. And that's because Henry's a real champion of self-publishing, but Basha and I also helped guide the initial purchases of materials for that statewide shared collection. So this is happening now. It's underway. We're excited to see where it goes, and I encourage you to check it out. You can download the Palace app, or you can check out palaceproject.org to learn more about it.
Thanks so much, Katie. Next up is Lee. And Lee, you will see, is in this slide. Tell us more, Lee.
Okay, so hello, everyone. So this is my first time attending the California Library Association conference, and I got to participate in the Beatty Awards as a judge. So since 1989, the John and Patricia Beatty Award has honored authors of distinguished books for children and young adults. And these are books that best promote California culture and people. So you can see I was on this committee with several other librarians from throughout the state of California. And it was a year-long commitment. We received many, many books from publishers who know about this contest. So they would send us everything that was remotely related to California. And on our own, we would also read review sources and discover books that we wanted to consider. They had to be published in 2021. The authors don't have to live in California, but the book has to be set here. And so in total, we each read about 25 books. Some of them were just the 32-page picture book. Some of them were 450-page teen book. And usually the award goes to just one author, but we petitioned the CLA and we got permission for the first time in the awards history since 1989 to grant awards to two authors. So one, what's called a middle grade children's book. So like your 4th to say 8th grader, and then one to a teen book, generally high school kids. So last night at the Telegraph Club was our selection for the teen book. It was historic fiction, a love story between two girls set in 1950s San Francisco. There was also a backdrop of McCarthyism. So it was very educational, and you can tell from the cover a bit noir. So that was what we chose for our teen book. And you can also see from the cover, it won a lot of other awards. For our middle grade novel, we chose Frankie and Buggy, which was also a really great book set in 1980s Venice. And this book covered everything from gender issues, family relationships, culture, race, and even a mass murderer that was based on a reality, I guess, in the 80s in, so I forget what the real person was called, but it was someone who was stalking people. So there was a lot going on in both of these books. They're both really well written, and each author gets a $500 award and also a plaque. And so Melinda Lowe, who wrote Last Night at the Telegraph Club, wasn't able to come out for our award ceremony brunch. So she sent a video with a speech saying how much she appreciated getting this award. But Gail Foreman flew out from New York to attend the ceremony. And it was, for me, it was the highlight of the conference. It was just really wonderful. And we had a really long, engaged conversation with the audience. The librarian who organized this event said in her many years of organizing the awards ceremony, she had never had such an active, engaged audience. And I think it's a result of the books that were selected. So yeah, it was a really inspiring and exciting event that I was happy to be able to judge, and then to come and meet all these other judges who for a year we had only met via Zoom to get to meet them in person.
Thanks so much, Lee. Great job. Very inspiring. And next up, we have Catherine.
Thanks, Henry. I likely was first time to the CLA conference. It was really a great event. I learned a lot. There were a lot of amazing sessions, and Henry took me on a whirlwind tour of the conference, of the exhibit hall, where he knew every single exhibitor. And it was amazing. It was a great experience. I feel very lucky to have been able to attend. I did want to share about one particular session that I went to, which was about Hayward's experience building a new library and community learning center. In listening to their story, I saw a real reflection of San Rafael, and where we are right now is about where they were. I'm not quite clear on their timeline, but a number of years ago. So they too had kind of an older library that was, they were basically in need of a new library, and they went out. Oh yes, Henry, you can move forward in the slides. And kind of presenting on this panel was Chris Knoll from Nolan Tam, the president of their Friends of the Library group, as well as the library director from Hayward Library. And what they the city did not have the funding to build a new library on their own. So they were looking for different funding sources. They kind of settled on a general tax as in their case, it was a sales tax, as the best way, the most likely way for them to get funding. And they went out and they surveyed their community. And when they got the survey back on what the community was most likely to support, the top things they saw were fire prevention and firefighting services, increasing in police patrols, creating a safe space for after school and homework programs. That was kind of, as you can see on this list here, the red ones are related to library and the blue are non-library services. But then when you get down to kind of larger children's section at the library, replace the library with a new library, more space for new library books, those things didn't quite poll as well. And that's something, I think that as we shared at the last library board meeting, is something we're seeing in our community as well, that things like potholes, 911 response, street and sidewalk repairs, those things are polling better. And that was kind of in this slide that Hayward shared was reflected as well. But Henry, if you can go on to the next slide, their friends shared with us some of the kind of takeaways that they took from that. So what they did, they took that poll and they did put a general sales tax on the ballot, and then they got to work doing a really aggressive campaign. And this is kind of their key recommendations for anyone embarking on this type of work. So they really highlighted the need to get professional help from a political consultant and to find mentors who've gone through this before. I did go and get their business cards afterwards. And to really let those professionals and the polling data help get the messaging right. They shared about how, while the initial polling, the library was on there, but not quite as strong as some of the other city services. They really made the campaign about the library. They worked with the schools. They got the community and kind of those natural allies and partners in the community out there, really kind of hitting the pavement and making the case for why this was important. They partnered with the fire, PD and fire and all the other city departments that were going to benefit from the tax. And they got it passed with a large margin of support. So, I think we'll be talking a little bit more about where the city is in our staff report out. But this was definitely kind of inspiring to hear a city that came somewhere from somewhere similar to where we are right now, and were able to make their way through kind of the general tax measure, getting support from their community, and through to then about half of the presentation was focused on sharing their beautiful new library, which really looks gorgeous. Unfortunately, it opened up about 4 months before the pandemic hit. So they're only now really, and even now it's still obviously impacted by kind of, concerns about gathering. But it is a really beautiful facility. And for anyone who is ever in Hayward, I would definitely recommend stopping by if you haven't seen it already.
Thank you, Catherine. I believe that's the last slide. Yes, time for comments and questions. I'm going to stop sharing the screen.
Thank you. Any comments or questions from trustees?
Basha, there you are. How did it go over the whole, preferred, not required, where there is there still, I think, Henry, when you mentioned it, it was something that is people don't find in the field something that they want to do, or there was some issues, right? Just curious how it went.
So our presentation went over really well. We didn't have anyone who interrupted and was like being rude or aggressive about it in any way. But we did also structure our presentation specifically to be something that was informative and geared towards people seeking to implement this. So the expectation was that you're coming into this with good faith, and because specifically you are interested in making this happen, rather than, we didn't create like a debate space about the topic, but I think Henry can speak to the general sentiment in the library community better than I can.
Yes, I would agree with that, Basha. I think there are pockets of resistance out there. When it's sort of proposed maybe in an electronic format, it tends to elicit some debate in kind of a negative way, but this felt very positive. Roseville has the same policy. It's probably not like 10% of libraries or even a quarter, but it is catching on. I think Multnomah County might also have a similar policy. So it's sort of part of, like, I think, our organizational redesign in a bigger way, but definitely this was more really a supportive group. There were people there I'd worked with before at other agencies that are librarians. I think at Santa Clara County there was a couple of people. So yeah, it was very positive.
I don't mean to, I just, out of curiosity, Henry or Basha, what does it take to make the movement rather than just, one-off a library institutes it? Is there a thought that you all in your consortiums or your collaboratives will try and help others institute it, or was it just more?
Well, yeah, let me follow up on that. It's specifically related to the institution, i.e. the city of San Rafael and its policies regarding what a job description is composed of. So each institution, each civic entity has to make the decision. So Marinnet, though it's a consortium, each library has different policies, different values. Some very highly value the division between professional and paraprofessional staff, and none shall pass that barrier without this degree. And I think we're saying the emperor basically doesn't have any clothes here, because people can do and do very equivalent work without the degree. We have staff that do that, and so we're posing the question. It's also further complexified by the American Library Association and all the library schools in America. They're incentivized to sort of sell this degree to people, and it making it's not just an MLIS, but an ALA accredited MLIS. There's an accreditation piece, which, is not, insignificant in the larger scope of things. So, but from the sort of grassroots or local approach, there really isn't compelling reason to keep the requirement. There's actually compelling reasons to get rid of it, because it creates a path of promotion in the organization. It increases equity, it increases efficiency, it increases it helps break down barriers between two levels, like a two-tier system where there's like officers and enlisted. And I've worked at places where the librarians didn't speak to the non-librarian people, like straight up. So I think that it's part of a larger culture change. And though we're having conversations around equity, specifically at the MarinNet level, I would be happily surprised if the rest of MarinNet wanted to sort of emulate us, but I don't think we're quite there yet, but it'd be a good thing.
Thank you. I appreciate that overview.
Any other comments or questions?
Just thank you for sharing everything with us. I mean, what an amazing conference it sounds like. So many great presentations, and it was great hearing that you guys were a part of giving so many of the presentations at the conference. So thanks. I really appreciate that you shared it with us.
Yeah, no, thank you. That all sounded incredibly interesting, and just so many things there, the awards and all of the different pieces that were submitted. It just sounds like really great place to be, and a great place to find different authors, different potential for the collection. So thank you for sharing what you're learning about what's out there. Great. So with that, we can go to item 5, other brief reports on any meetings, conferences, or seminars attended by the board members.
Oh, Chair Duque, we do have one attendee. I can read the script to see if this person
yes.
is interested.
Public
Okay.
comment. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. If you wish to provide public comment and are watching this meeting through Zoom, please use the raise hand function and let us know you would like to speak. If you are participating by telephone and wish to provide public comment, please press *9. When it is your turn to speak, you will be notified that the host is inviting you to participate. You will need to press *6 to unmute yourself. Once you are unmuted, you will have 3 minutes to provide your comments. Okay, let's just see if this person is interested. No, it doesn't seem like they are.
And I do believe we need a formal motion to accept the report. Is that right, Henry?
We don't usually do that, but
Okay.
is it at the, did we say that at the end of the
It
staff
said,
report?
the staff report said that recommended action was to, wasn't it to, maybe I'm misremembering. Sorry about that.
I'm
If
looking.
I'm wrong.
It's not in the script.
Okay.
Happy
Then
to flex.
Then that's my, I think I might be, I'm just confusing my boards and commissions.
Yeah, I think we're good. We
Okay,
didn't have that there.
ignore
Yeah.
me.
Great. Yeah,
And I was thinking we could say goodbye to staff for the rest of the meeting, unless you want to stay. They've had a long day. Thanks, everybody.
Nice to see you all. Thank you.
Yeah,
thank
all
you,
right.
everyone.
cool. Ginger has to stay.
All right, so item 5, other brief reports on any meetings, conferences, and or seminars attended by board members. If there's no comments or content there, then item 6, other brief program updates or reports on any meetings, conferences, or seminars attended by staff.
Yeah, usually here I'll give a rundown of all the groups, stakeholder groups that I meet with, and then I think Catherine will say some things about the process the process regarding improving library facilities sound like a plan. Marinnet board met in the beginning of the month. We all agreed that we're going to support an LGBTQ affinity group for the entire consortium. Jill T is creating that and is going to be reaching out to other members to create that group. We also agreed that we're all going to get Collection HQ with a DEI tool for the entire consortium, which is a collection management tool, which kind of shows you what parts of the collection are being used and lets you kind of allocate budgets according to, you know, how well certain parts of the collection are being used. And on top of that, there's a new DEI tool that allows you to look at your collection choices through an equity lens. And that is very popular throughout the consortium. And we're planning to use our shared money to support its purchase, which means we have to spend less of our specific San Rafael money. This is part of the annual $275,000 that we pay to Marinnet. It creates what we call a sinking fund of money that can be, you know, used for shared purchases, which is awesome. The Friends of the Library met last week in person at the San Rafael Community Center. Jill gave us a very similar presentation that you saw today. But it's very well received. And again, shout out to Jill and Basha and the team for creating such excellent marketing materials and graphics and doing such a great job on summer reading. You may have noticed we've tried to make it simpler this year. The Friends, I think, are particularly an audience we want to communicate to about summer reading because they give the bulk of the money to support that effort. The Friends also, there was limited discussion about the ongoing, the flyer. There will be a mailer, which Catherine will mention, going out to everyone in the community about this multi-part general tax measure that we're thinking of, we're hoping will become a thing in our community. NorthNet did not meet last time and is meeting tomorrow. This is the statewide Larp library consortium we're part of, from here to the Oregon border. Sacramento is part of it, to Nevada. And there's a ton of things to vote on because they didn't meet the previous time because the regulations said that anyone who was attending had to be at their library location for public transparency reasons, and many of them were not. I was at my library location, so there was no quorum. You know, that's the thing about huge consortium with 50 to 60 members. It's kind of hit or miss sometimes. And then the foundation, the San Rafael Public Library Foundation postponed their meeting. It would have been last Friday. And that'll be, the next meeting will be in July. And now I turn it over to Catherine for additional information.
Thanks, Henry. Yeah, as Henry mentioned, and I believe I shared with you all, the city's been kind of continuing to work on the messaging around, you know, giving the community more information on the potential tax measure and the types of activities it would go to support. So I believe I shared with you the mailer that should be arriving in mailboxes any day now. I believe that it was sent, that our consultants used the voter rolls to send it to likely voters. So I'm a San Rafael resident. I haven't checked my mail today yet, but I haven't received it yet, but it should be coming shortly. So that's kind of just part of this ongoing campaign of sharing information about this. We will also be doing kind of a midpoint poll. It's looking like that. We're still working out the exact timeline, but that will be in early July. And what we're doing is we're working with the same polling firm that did the poll in February. And they're taking the survey they did then and really honing it in on the language that we've learned from the last poll worked better, to see what kind of numbers we get. This is going to be a much shorter poll. and really focus on those things that we've already heard from the community is more interested in supporting, to see if we can kind of get to that level where we think this would have a good shot of passing. So at that, once we get those numbers, the kind of decision based on how that looks, the decision will be made, whether it's brought to city council for them to consider putting it on the ballot. We'll give you a bit more information once we know what meeting that would be on, with, as you can imagine, with summer vacation schedules, this is a really important topic, and we'd want to have as many of the council members there as possible to weigh in. And they have kind of various vacation schedules and meetings that they're not going to be at, so that's making it a bit tricky, but we will definitely keep you all updated once we have a more solid timeline on all of that. And I think that's kind of the update on that. We are still moving forward with the Park and Recreation Master Plan. I believe, Cheryl, you weren't able to make the last Park and Recreation Steering Committee meeting. We are planning on having a presentation at the Park and Recreation Commission, or that the Park and Recreation Commission meeting, which is next Thursday at 6 p.m. This Thursday, it's in 2 days. I'm getting my boards and commissions all mixed up. It's in 2 days. We are still not 100% certain that we have quorum. So more to come on that, but that's our plan at the moment, is for a similar presentation that was made to the steering committee to be made to the commission. So if anyone's interested, they can pop onto that. Otherwise, that is a public meeting that's going to be recorded and will also be posted online. I think that's it.
Thank you, Catherine. Any comments or questions from trustees? Any public comment, Jinder?
All right, we still have one attendee. If you wish to provide public comment and are watching this meeting through Zoom, please use the raise hand function to let us know you would like to speak. If you are participating by telephone and wish to provide public comment, please press *9. When it is your turn to speak, you will be notified that the host is inviting you to participate. You will need to press *6 to unmute yourself. Once you're unmuted, you will have 3 minutes to provide your comments. All right, I'm going to see if this person is interested. No, it doesn't seem like they are.
Thank you, Jinder. So if there's no other comments from trustees, and I'm closing public comment, then we can adjourn, and the next meeting is July 12th, 2022.
Thanks, everybody.
Take care.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Jinder.
everybody.
Thanks, Jamie. Thanks, Adriana.